Yo, yo.
Hey,
What up? What up?
check, check.
All right. We got number 5, pod session number 5 today, where we're going to talk about what we recently did, right? Gardening and beats with Uncle. What episode was that?
This one was 180.
180? Oh, okay.
Hamani Anku.
All right. Hey, Chase, Joey too, welcome. And all right, so we're talking about a recap session that is on gardening and beets. We had somebody here who was called Kimani Anku, who is actually part Kenyan. His grandparents are Kenyan and Ethiopian, so he's from Africa. I think he's second generation. You can consider him second generation, right? And he is someone who is passionate about urban gardening and also incorporates it with beets. So we had a conversation for about an hour and some change, and we were talking about gardening, and then we're talking about the beets. Actually, is he a Webby winner? He's a Webby
He is 2022.
2022 is a Webby winner, and
He has a podcast about gardening.
right, does have a podcast about gardening. So what it started, three things. So we're gonna feature three things that kind of stood out on that particular episode. So if you want to go watch the episode, you can go out there on YouTube and watch it on Work by Accident or on Sambaza Podcast. So he started gardening it was about health concerns. He had some health concerns where he went to the doctor, and then the doctor told him, hey, you got to cut some weight. And then he decided to eat raw vegetables. That's what he said. Yeah. And then from there, that's when he was able to kind of turn his life around. And then the doctor told him to start going to talk to people about how he transformed his life and his diet. And it was nothing strange. All he just did was eat raw foods,
But
and those were
it was a very, most people can't do that for 3 months straight and keep the weight off. And just to completely, cut meat and carbs out and go to a raw diet is a very, dramatic change
uh,
for
yeah,
the average person, I would say.
yeah. It takes a lot of grit to be able to do that. Especially, I've done, well, I can't say diet. I've done lifestyle changes, and yeah, in the beginning, yes, you keep up with it. Then after a while, you kind of falter to it, and I've been through something like that. Started off very well the year, suddenly getting right now. I think my body's tired, and I'm slowly getting back to my ways, and then I need like a reset to kind of start off again. So yeah, that's one of the things. Like you said, it's hard to make these lifestyle changes. So he did have to get into a lifestyle change. Hi, Abby, welcome to the show. He did have to make a lifestyle change, and that is what helped him get back to to his to his weight. But I think for for us, do we really, does it, I don't know how to put it. When you talk about gardening, right, and we're talking about now looking at the lifestyle changes, do you have to go into like gardening, or we're looking at now how we eat organically? I think it's more like lifestyle changes. You want to go to eat organic food. What do you think about that? Because me, I was thinking more organically, to eat organic.
Well, so not just getting to a healthy weight, but just adopting and embracing vegetables and this type of diet and lifestyle. If you've never done that before, it's a sharp pivot. And I think it's hard to wrap your head around, eating in this way and incorporating, and then basically, you don't want to just eat the same thing all the time. If he talks about being experimental with the vegetables, and so that you can just really do this for a lifestyle. And it's significant and important because of the types of ailments and health concerns that our people have: hypertension, diabetes. These are the things that take us out all the time. We, definitely have, lost loved ones who have dealt with cancers. These diet, leads to the diseases that takes us out. But if you make this type of lifestyle change and embrace and adopt vegetables in a healthy diet, you can live longer. You know what I mean? I think that's the point. That's why this is significant. I think that's why people were kind of really getting energized and lively, because I've never really seen that many questions fly in and out on
Right.
this episode, because you really can change your life with just your diet. Even aside from the exercise piece, just diet is what 80% they always say. So that stood out to me, because that's something I'm dealing with now, for myself. So I definitely was interested.
Yeah, and then it's some of the foods that we're being accustomed to are not what we're used to, and this is because of the areas that we live in, and things like Brussels sprouts, carrots, like carrots, real carrots, not canned carrots. What are the things? Asparagus.
And we talked
Um,
about beets.
beet.
There's turmeric. There's healing properties in this. It's good for inflammation, um, your cholesterol. And it's so funny. We had an interesting conversation about beets, and I don't know if you were there for that. And this is like, as a kid, and just I didn't like the way it looked. And my mom, she loved beets. She would sit there and eat beets every single day out the jar. And he said, yeah, and you can put it in your salad or whatever like that. And so I recently, after this episode, went and bought a jar of beets. It's kind of funny. And I sat there and ate it. And I was like, you know what? It's not that bad. But as a kid, I didn't like the way it looked. I didn't like the way it smelled. But he's saying, with the juice, you can put that in your smoothies. You can blend it up. There's so many different ways that you can, eat and process intake beets. They even have beet peels I've seen in the store.
Mhm.
But just even out the jar of pickle, he said, be careful, because you got the salt, concern with it being in a jar, and with the pickled and the vinegar and all that. But out the jar, they're not bad. They kind of pretty much taste like carrots. They really do. And I feel like a fresh beet would probably be better. But I took them out the jar. They were not terrible. I put them in my salad, and it was pretty good.
Oh, nice. I just can't get over eggplant. I don't think
I
I don't think I'm that.
see. I haven't tried it, but from my understanding, it's basically just like a zucchini or squash,
Right.
like a squash,
Yeah.
more like a squash.
There's a food. There's chicken eggplant that I eat. I don't know. Let me try it. I'm not gonna count it off. Let me try it again. But just the fact that somebody has to tell me it's not eggplant. Just tell me eat it, and then after that you can tell me it's eggplant. I think I'll live with that. But if you just tell me this is eggplant, I'm like,
I
oh,
mean, what are you trying to, like, eat it raw, or you like
I don't
even
know. It was
like?
so the way it used to be made. I didn't like it. So
Okay, because I
younger
know that there's like Parmesan is a dish,
eggplant
eggplant
parmesan.
Parmesan. So
Yeah.
that's like tender with cheese and seasoning, and you know
That I'll probably
that
try that. Right.
might be over processed. I don't know if that's taking the nutrients out of the,
And yeah, they can take the nutrients out because I'll live with that. I'll live with that.
because I love green beans, but my dad used to say, "Oh, they cooked them to death." You know, you don't want to cook them. Anytime you cook them to the color gets darker and darker,
Right.
and we didn't even talk about that, cooking them to death. We want some color to still be in the, yeah.
And I think our cooking, we didn't talk about our cooking, but probably it's the cooking styles that we do. Sometimes our cooking, we overcook it to where it loses a lot of
Yeah.
nutrients. And I think where the raw type of deal that we should try to incorporate some raw foods into our meals. And also tomatoes. Ooh, I hate tomatoes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, tomatoes. So here's the thing about the tomatoes. If you to cook them, I need them ground like into a sauce. But you cut
Is
them.
it the acid that's
It's
oh
just the
okay.
way. I don't know. It's just the way the leftover. Like not even the skin. It's just the leftover. Yeah, I think I have childhood trauma because of that.
Like even on a hamburger?
I don't like it on a hamburger. I'll eat it.
Oh, okay.
I'll
Yeah, I
eat.
can
I'll
eat
eat
it
it raw
on
on
a
a hamburger, but it's not something I would kind of go for. Usually, it's no pickles, no onions
regular.
on the. Like you say, no pickles, no onions, no mustard, and that. Yeah, but I'll have tomatoes. But it's not my cup of tea. When it's cooked.
All right,
Yeah,
salad,
yeah.
and
And
the
salad.
salad is okay.
I'll have it in a taco, but
Yeah, in a
I'm not
taco.
gonna go out of my way just to say, hey, I want a raw tomato. I'm gonna eat a raw tomato here. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I probably could have pushed myself. They're not horrible, but that's the thing. You just have to, you know.
And I think it's more like we have to learn and relearn ourselves and reteach ourselves how to eat these foods. And this is where we fall into the second issue, which was food insecurity and food deserts. Was it a mile? Is it a mile where we look at where we talk about food deserts? If the shops are not
Correct.
right, then
Yes.
it becomes a good food desert. Let me say hi W from Cast. Nice to welcome to our pod sessions. And Soda is here. Welcome. So we're talking about food deserts in our area. And this is one of those issues that we have in terms of, and that's where our health concerns come, because food deserts are there and they affect us because we don't get access to good food. um Oh, this is Alex. Oh, hey, Alex. How you doing?
I thought that might have been because his podcast is about to show from.
Hey, Javin. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we're talking about food deserts.
Well,
How did you
actually,
feel about it? Mm-hmm.
you're talking
Go ahead.
about the episode that was, kind of framing.
Right. Okay. So we're talking about gardening and beets, and we're talking about urban gardening. And actually, at this point in time, when we talk about food deserts, he was trying to get to Kimani was talking about how food deserts occur, into whereby he was trying to integrate himself to teach people how to eat good food. And because the people were not accustomed to the good food, no, not well, I'm going to say good food to mean the organic foods and foods that were healthy,
Right.
he was getting some pushback on it. And this is where he brought up about the topic of talking about food deserts. And maybe, can you talk about the food deserts if you can?
Right. So you're doing a recap for our podcast episode that we had last week that featured Kimani Anku, who has a urban gardening business and an expert in gardening. And so we learned a lot about gardening and how we can adopt vegetables and that type of thing. And so it was significant because in a lot of our communities, urban communities, predominantly Black and Brown communities, you will have what we were just talking about, food deserts, where your closest grocery store where a family can purchase their fruits and vegetables and staples to create meals will be more than a mile away. So this is a food desert. Okay, so basically the closest place to get some food is your liquor store or your bodega or something like that, where you're running into Takis and noodles and no fresh fruits and vegetables. So and more more often we are seeing these things in a lot of our metropolitan cities that you know, our communities, black and brown communities, and actually probably a lot of communities, especially the pandemic had an impact on that. Like I told you, it was a supermarket that went out of business because of the pandemic, because of these nonprofits giving food and groceries out, and they didn't get as much business, and it completely shut the grocery store down. And so there's a lot of you know, a lot of impact on that, where you're not able to access your groceries, you know, and that's a detriment to the families. And so what are they eating? They're eating junk that, you know, creates these health problems that we're talking about. And then, you know, he made this sharp pivot in his life to get healthier, you know. Oh, she was talking about only a 7-Eleven being around, you know, to
Yeah.
actually go in a grocery store and be able to buy fresh fruit and vegetables and healthy things.
Yeah. So they're
It's a
saying that
problem.
she has that was her for years because she could not drive and before Uber, so
Mhm.
she ate at 7-Eleven. And I don't 7-Eleven just started adding fruits and veggies the other day, because when I started working, well, I worked at 7-Eleven type of
Mhm.
whatever gas station, and they didn't have fruits and vegetables at that time. Fruits were bananas, so you would get anything else that would be food will be like the hot dogs and
Those sandwiches that are already made up,
yes,
wrapped.
yeah, and uh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
Though somehow in the down south, when you go into those other this type of gas stations, the food is
I'll
really
eat. Hmm.
yeah. She said I would only eat oatmeal. Wow, interesting.
Yeah. Because, I mean, how many bags of chips can you imagine? You know, it's all that salt and just, yeah, it's going to take a toll on your
And
body.
another thing I think about when you talk about that food insecurity in the food deserts, when you look at the amount of money, like say you took $100 and went to buy organic food,
Mhm.
and when you talk about like organic oriented food, and you just want to buy this other food, the amount of groceries you'll walk out with that 100, if you have 200 and decide 100 is going to be on organic like foods and healthy foods, and the other part is going to be totally different. You'll have a smaller basket than the other type, than the other way around. You know, if you went and just picked up anything.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, yeah. So unfortunately, that is one of the problems.
And that's the thing. We were talking, he grows his food.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yes, you know, not only adopted that lifestyle, but took on gardening and learned how to be this really great expert in urban gardening, because, you know, he lives in an urban metropolitan area. And he talked about how you can grow in the house, you know, if or in the backyard, or if you don't have a garden, and hydroponically growing things. And you know, so it was a really good conversation.
And you know, with just a pot, you can have like two, three, four pots and put them out of your window, and you can have your own garden, or inside the house, you can have your own
Yeah,
garden.
he
And
talked about mason jars.
right,
You know, yeah. Hmm.
and it's kind of healthy because I think they emit oxygen inside, because plants emit oxygen. So
Yeah,
if actually planting, you have plants in your house, that means there's a lot of oxygen in the house. Yeah, so that you want to check it out, because there are very many ways of having your own garden inside your apartment. Very, very possible. Just open the window, have a pot, water it, water your whatever plant you want to grow. And we did, oh, tomatoes, yes,
yeah,
tomatoes you can, even onions you can, chives, and you know, all these little bitty things, and you'll find that it does help in your grocery bill. It cuts off your grocery bill at times, because
right.
these kind of they help out a little bit, helps out, you know,
Mhm.
just by growing. And then another, the fact that you care for something and you watch it grow, and you nurture it, also gives you some sense of humanity. like you're taking care of something. So yeah, go check out the episode. He has a whole lot of explanations as to what you can grow, where you can grow.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
He has a podcast, so yeah.
it's a great show.
Right.
Yeah, great. And then lastly, we were talking about the community, how um the community can help, how you go and you go into your community and find out how you can help in terms of teaching them. And then he was also talking about businesses that you can set up out of the organic food companies. And also, hey, didn't we talk about the waste management, organic waste management? Like he uses
Yeah,
organic stuff, yeah,
compost.
compost.
Mhm.
And then one more thing is teaching and educating. That is the most important thing, because with him, he was teaching the kids, right? And then the kids, he said that Takis, where he was experimenting with Takis, and then he made some Takis and gave the
With
kids, and with
carrots.
carrots, yes. And then the parents were like, "What did you make that our kids like? We want that what you made, and our kids like that." So that's what we educate. That's how we educate. And one thing I forgot to mention, in Baltimore, where Uncle, well, he's in the DMV area.
Right.
Uh, they have a lot of urban gardens, and I have a picture that I took from my Airbnb just right down the street from
Mhm.
where I was staying, not this year, but the previous year. They had an urban garden, and I remember taking a picture with the background there. It's so pretty.
Mhm.
And it just goes to show you how people can just start slowly around your community, and then it starts growing. The major thing is teach the kids, educate the kids, because they're the ones who will be accustomed to this. Once they know that, hey, it's possible to do this, and I always keep saying, teach the future generation. Once you have it ingrained in them, they will be able to teach their kids, and that's how you make this go further than teaching an adult who already, is stuck in their ways. Yes, we can change, but we won't change much. But when you teach the younger generation, that helps a whole lot.
For sure.
Now, Jen, do you have any garden at your place?
No, but I grew up, watching my mom with her garden. And so that was, a part of my growing up. But I like plants and, excuse me. I like plants
Mm,
and, flowers and things like that. So if I put some energy into it, I feel that I could do it.
well, I have, and I incorporated my backyard. I have two apple
Hmm.
trees, two pear trees, one plum tree, and yeah, and the grapes. Now I
And you
got,
take care of it and
yeah, yeah. And one thing that's very peculiar about plums is on the first lot you get plums, you'll get like maybe one, two, three. When they come out the next time, in the next years after that, oh, it's gonna be a whole lot. Like I have so much that I give out to the neighbors. They come out and pick them. Apples the same.
you're
So many.
kidding.
Yeah, I have to share with my neighbors. I tell them, hey, you can come pick up, or I have these brown bags. When I harvest them, I'll harvest them and then I'll send them across. I'll tell my kids to go take to the neighbors and tell them, hey, here you are, have them, because it's way too much. And I wanted to have a farm. My
I know
goal
that.
actually to have a farm with at least 10 pears, 10 apples, and peaches and all that.
Hmm.
um but I guess I'm just a small scale gardener. I haven't started planting anything else, but I do love some. I'll plant some corn, a little bit of corn and cabbage and stuff like that. I haven't done it in a couple of years because it takes some time.
Yeah,
Tropical fruit.
that was we talked about that too, how to keep the critters out of like the
Yeah,
compost and things like that. And he was saying that you could put pepper and coffee grounds in the garden to just, move the critters out.
yeah. So I gotta tell you a story. I think story here about my garden, and this is the reason why I stopped having my garden. So one time, I decided to plant these not watermelons. What are those other breeds that look like watermelons?
Oh, cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe. Yes, cantaloupe. Hey Dom, welcome to the show.
Oh,
So, uh, so I decided to plant some cantaloupe, and they grow. They're healthy. They're nice, and it covers the whole area. And so, time to harvest. We go out to harvest, and I kind of let it go. My wife was like, "Oh, there's so much over there," so she decided she was gonna go harvest some with a friend of ours. So when they go there, she notices a cup. The kids took a cup there and dropped it. So she was like, "Oh, there's a cup over there. Let's see this cup." She picked the cup, and there was a little snake. Oh
oh
my,
no.
oh my God! She almost broke her friend's arm because she grabbed her so hard, and then she ran back in the house. I was asleep, and all I heard was screams.
Mm-hmm.
Then the snake was so small. She was so worried about the snake that she called the the, the local department, the sheriff to not the sheriff, but she called
The county something off.
the animal shelter
Yeah,
people to
animal
get it
control.
out. Yeah, and the animal control, and they came. I could see the guy's face when he looked at me, and she said, "No, there's another one. There's another one. I swear, there's another one." And the guy
Oh,
looked at me, and he looked into the house because my wife wasn't there. And I could see his face. He was like, oh boy, I know what you're experiencing. So he went and looked and told her, "Ma'am, I don't think there's another one." And as soon as he was done, she called people, and they came and cleared that backyard garden. And that was the last time I ever had a backyard garden.
oh,
Yeah.
really?
So that's how I ended up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's my story.
So you don't have a garden now, then?
No, I only have
Oh,
trees.
the trees. Okay.
That's what.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, those critters that come out.
And
So,
it's new, so
yeah.
yeah, it was. Yeah. Yeah.
But the coffee grounds and the pepper thing, I didn't, I wasn't
But
aware of that.
I'm wondering about soda with alligators in our backyard, how it'll work out.
No, that would scare the crap out of me. And I'd just be like, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
Like,
you come up
okay.
in the morning, you're trying to water your garden, and they're looking at you like, "Hey, what are you doing here?"
They're little, they still be scary.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They'd be scary. They'd be scary.
Yeah.
But
Because,
I see.
whoa, 5 feet.
And
They're still big.
I'm 5'10", and the five is what we're talking about.
Like,
Uh-uh.
that's like a me. I'm like 5'1".
Uh, mm, mm.
I'm a little alligator.
And they ate the neighbor's puppy. See, there we go.
Oh,
There
they
you
ate
go.
the neighbor's puppies. Oh my god. Yikes.
Mm, 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 mm.
Ah.
No backyard gardening and no animals, no
And
pets.
these are the
No,
baby alligators.
see, then you can't grow your own meat. You can't have no chicken because they'll probably go after them. You can't have, fowl, like turkey. Can't you can't have anything in the back like fowl. Huh. Anyway,
Wow.
but
Hmm.
so again, just to conclude everything, this was just a recap. Picked the three most important things that we thought stood out in this episode with Anku, where we talked about gardening and beets, and we talked about the health concerns and diet and lifestyle changes. Then we talked about the food insecurity and food deserts. Jay Greer, welcome to the show. Then we talked about community and businesses and how we are able to teach and educate our kids regarding this issue that we have in food security. So, if you want to listen, go ahead and go online on Work by Accident, and also Sambaza Podcast. We are a collective. You can listen to it or watch it. And also, don't forget to like and subscribe the shows. And we'll be happy to engage. If you have any comments, you can leave the comments there on the YouTube channel, and we'll be glad to answer some questions or give you additional resources regarding
The audio episodes will be up shortly, soon.
or the ones to listen to. I know I'm behind on those, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I'll get them up soon.
right. And with that, till next week, we shall be here. And I say to my Wasambazaji, you all have a blessed day.
Thanks.
Bye, guys.